Hello and welcome to the Blue Monday podcast. This is a three times weekly show looking into the exciting happenings of Ipswich Town Football Club, available on video on podcast. My name's Benjamin Bloom. I'll be here each and every Monday for this, the flagship show of ITFC, aficionado, expert, luminary, TV's David Diamond for a sometimes irreverent but always informative hour of football conversation. Make your Monday a Blue Monday. Dave, you've got no hot water. I know I said I wouldn't mention it on the pod, but I'm going
Mate,
to.
not only no hot water, mate. You've got no heating. I am sitting here. I've got my quilt. I've got a double size 15 tog quilt on my lap as we speak.
So long-term listeners to the pod will know that David lives in some luxury in Diamond Towers, as I as I call it.
I really, yeah, so much luxury. I haven't got any heating or hot water. It's freezing today, isn't it? It was all right. Like had it been last weekend, 25 degrees. It's about 20-degree drop. It's
I had
unbelievable, mate.
I had a Hawaiian shirt on Wednesday. I was loving it. Is that summer? Is that summer over then, Dave?
Oh, I hope. I think no. I think just quick weather, long-term weather forecast. Well, sorry, short to long-term weather forecast. I think it's going to be by the end of this week. I did look. It's going to be about 18 degrees, purely because I've arranged a cycle outing on Friday evening. That's all.
And you're probably
So
getting back into that now, aren't you, Dave?
yeah, man.
Football
Gotta get
season's
back
finishing.
to it.
You're going to be out every Saturday, aren't you?
I'm bloody out of it, mate. Any Sunday morning when I'm buggering around doing this, out on a bike, mate.
And we should say, what, two episodes left? We'll probably get the band together to do a end of
Yeah.
season roundtable. So
Right,
possibly
mate, that'll be our end of our third season.
says on my iPad there, episode 123.
Who'd have thought it?
Who'd have thunk it? And
Thunk
at
it,
an
mate.
average length of probably 65, 70 minutes. What's that times 123?
Oh, I
Whatever.
don't even want to think about it. How much time are we wasted?
There we go. I'd like people to tweet in and say it's not been time wasted there, but there you
Oh,
go.
I set that up nicely.
Dave, on Thursday at 12 p.m. on YouTube, the world changed forever when Marcus Evans went head to
No, it
head.
didn't. No, it didn't.
Was it on Wednesday?
Changed on Wednesday.
Sorry. Was it on Wednesday? I thought it was on Thursday. So I do the whole bit. On Wednesday, Dave, the whole world changed forever when Marcus Evans, Frost Nixon, went head to head with
Yeah,
Steve Pearce. Now you're on the TV talking about this. I did a
yeah,
YouTube video. I
yeah.
was on the radio.
We're all over the gaff,
It's
weren't
been
we?
discussed on
Unbelievable.
Twitter, lots and lots.
God.
I got a bit of a battering after my YouTube
Well,
videos.
I saw that, Ben. 50-50, was it? 60-40 against? I'm not really sure. I don't think you didn't get a complete doing, did you? It wasn't complete.
A lot of people fervently disagree with me. Anyway, before I kind of stand up for myself, you tell me what were your thoughts on the
I,
presentation,
yeah,
on what he said, and
yeah.
on Evans himself.
All right. Well,
Summarise.
first of all, he pretty much said about as much as I thought he would said. Not as much as I hoped he would have said, but as much as I thought he would. Any interview that he's going to do, which is going to be hosted by the in-house guy, the in-house,
Steve.
whatever he is, yeah. It was always going to be stage managed, Ben, wasn't it? The questions were going to be thoroughly vetted. I must admit, personally, I'd have liked to have seen it. And we said this bit didn't get broadcast, but we said this between ourselves. So it was me, Steve Skeet, Joe Fairs, and GB and Graham Blackburn from the and it was at ICR, from the Naked Footy show, Graham, and we all said that there was no way he was going to put himself in front of someone like, I don't know, Stuart Watson from the EADT and field random questions. It's just not going to happen. My take on it was, look, it's a step in the right direction. We've seen him. All right, we know he exists, but we know he does exist. We've heard him speak. I expected him slightly different. I mean, for me, he came across more. I thought he was going to sound like a bit of an old Etonian type, but he certainly came across sort of home counties sort of type, reasonably ordinary sort of guy, accent wise. Um, uh, do you know, a lot of the stuff I think you've got to take, he said, with a pinch of salt. I don't think it was any coincidence that that was released last Wednesday, 5 days before the ticket. All right, fairly close, but 5 days before the ticket deadline, which is tomorrow, the early bird, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Look, I just don't know exactly what people expected once the format of the interview was known, how it was going to be done, how it was going to be handled. Really, I quite like what he said about the academy. Great, if that happens, and I think looking at that, I think you can see some of the fruits of that yesterday, which is great, which we'll get onto later. So no, from my overall take on it, look, it's a step in the right direction. I totally get the bit you put out. I totally get both sides of that. Yeah, that's for me. Yeah.
Okay. So my my video I put up, I literally watched it and then went straight to my car and did the video. So I hadn't
Yeah.
seen the feedback.
No.
And a lot of the criticism I got was what you just said was, what did you expect? So what I would say to that is my criticism was that about 2 or 3 minutes in that I could see him reading something. And I don't mind people having their opinions on what I said, but those people who came back and said, I don't think he's reading, I I think that's a fact that he was reading. I can't prove that, but that doesn't mean it's not a fact. I think there's enough evidence over 26 minutes of him reading
Yeah,
something.
you know that better than me because I didn't. I thought it was scripted. It sounds a bit odd. I thought it was scripted, but I never picked up he was reading. But you would look. You not say it sounds awful, not you being you, but doing what you do, and you put a load of these out, obviously. So you would I think you would perhaps suss that more than I would because I must
So
admit I thought it was scripted, but I didn't actually notice him. Anyway, come on.
So that was what a lot of people neglected to listen to the first 30 seconds of what I said, which is this is a net gain. This is good. This is a good
Absolutely.
thing. I agree with you on what he's like. I've listened to a lot of Jordan Peterson, the clinical psychologist, and they always talk about these incredibly driven, incredibly
Individuals.
wealthy individuals. They're all a little bit awkward. They're all very uh, the normal criteria is that you're very driven, you're
Hmm.
socially awkward, you're extremely intelligent,
Hmm.
and you're prepared to work and sacrifice everything else. You're prepared to work 100 hours a week
Oh
or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah. And I think I might mention this to you before that when I did the cycle ride, the Tour of Suffolk last year, I just got cycling part of the about I don't know a few miles with this random guy, and he was his best mate from school, and he said obviously completely self-made man, left school at 16, started to work at 16.
But
And
I kind of knew from um, my psychology studies that I've made, I kind of knew how he was going to be. So um,
but
the,
I
the
I
the
thought
criticism I had, if
sorry,
I may,
no,
Dave,
yeah,
was
you go.
that there's there's a big grey area between because a lot of what people said back to me was, oh well, what the hell did you expect, Ben? What the hell did you want? And on the one hand, there's incredibly prepared, stage managed, all questions vetted, all answers. And I did have an issue with him clearly reading players' names.
Oh yeah,
When he
that
was listing.
Cameron.
Right, okay. That's the one side of the scale.
Yeah,
The other
yeah,
side of
okay.
the scale is some complete basket case Massimo Cheleno owner who's all over the place, big attention seeker. All I was saying is I wanted him to be just a little bit further to the middle than he was. That was what I was saying, that I found it quite awkward that it was so.
What you mean a little bit more? Excuse me, expensive or
um what I mean is it was totally
a little bit,
scripted. The
a
whole
little bit more
thing,
natural, a little
a
bit
little
more
bit more
natural as
natural,
such.
yeah. So I felt that what he was saying was coming from his brain or
Not
his
his heart.
or his heart, not from a. Apparently, I forget where I heard it. Apparently, it was a flipboard with bullet points on it or notes that he
Oh.
was reading. There's no, unless you're in the room, there's no proof of that. But
So
um,
it was
that was the
almost like what you're saying there. It's almost like I've done before, a business presentation type thing,
That's
as
exactly what
such.
it was. I had a lot
Yeah.
of tweets telling me this is how corporate people
So,
speak. But my argument, Dave, is that's not an interview. That's a
No, no, no,
presentation.
no. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And
No,
all the
it's
people,
more a presentation, not an interview. Yeah,
all the
exactly.
people
Yeah.
that said to me, "Oh well, what do you expect him to go on with no notes or whatever?" No, of course not. I'm about to. I've got an iPad there. I've got a book here. But yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
ways of talking, and I would like him to have referred to his notes where he need to. I know Tony Blair is virtually like the best talker in history that you could, apparently second to none for work in a room. Do you remember when he used to do Prime Minister's questions? He used to have a book and he would refer to it for facts, and the rest of what he did,
Oh, incredible.
he spoke, and he would quickly flip to his book, and everything was prepared. They prepared every question, and all I was wanting was, I wasn't wanting some super charismatic, amazing Tony Blair style talker. I just wanted it a little bit more. I don't know who Marcus Evans is still, and
No, no. I mean, one thing you said, you mentioned about your psychologist chap. I certainly don't think he came across as socially awkward. To me, all right.
no, no.
He came across quite confident. Well, look, like I said, I think the bottom line, I think for everybody, no matter what your view is, it is at least, and no matter what the reason for it was, at least it's a step in the right direction.
And that's what I said at the start of my video. I said this
Yeah.
is a net gain. He's come
Yeah.
out, he's spoken. This is the start. What I will say is we're not going to see him again for a while, judging by what he said. He basically said, "I'm going to hire a new manager, and I want senior football people to be doing the talking," which is fine. But all I'm saying, and by the way, all the people that tweeted me saying, "Oh, we knew it was going to be like that." If you can screenshot me a tweet before the interview of you saying this is going to be completely stage managed, he's going to be scripted, then I'll take that. But there was a lot of people being quite wise after the event, I think, as well, Dave.
Of course, yeah.
We didn't know what to expect. Nobody did. So those people going, "Oh, well, I knew it was going to be like that." Nonsense.
I think what perhaps people are trying. I think it would have been a bigger surprise if he much bigger surprise if he came out the other way and was a bit more, I don't know, open and effusive. And
nobody knew that, did they?
No, and off the cuff rather than what you got. We all sat around afterwards and. When Donovan Blake spoke to us, this is off. Well, on camera it didn't get shown, and said, "What do you think?" And we all said, "Yeah, good, fine." And with these points, still not really clear what 5-point plan is.
Yeah, he mentioned that a lot, didn't he?
Yeah. Did he actually say exactly what it was? I'm not really sure. Look, fine, and yeah. I think the general consensus is I don't know about you that I've seen is what you said in your first 30 seconds of your video, and we've said this evening that great, it's a step forward, but you're perfectly right where you say I don't think we'll be seeing him perhaps before the start of the season. For instance, I don't think we'll be seeing him shaking hands with a new manager and making an announcement, for goodness sake. That'll be Ian Milne, I would assume.
And I think all of those things can be true at the same time. It doesn't have to be one or the other. Yes, it was stage managed. Yes, it was a net gain. Yes, he spoke well. I think people are a bit binary in their thinking sometimes. They either want hero or villain. It was kind of neither nor. And I would say, if you, as you said, as a presentation, very well judged. Very well done, slick. Yeah, well planned. And he even raised up the thing about, some people say this is a tax write-off. He obviously wanted to debunk that, didn't he? So he was obviously keen to say this is not. So all I was saying, and I agree with all of those things, all I was saying on my YouTube video, which got lots of dislikes, was that I just wanted him to be a bit more natural. I just wanted someone to speak passionately about this potential multi-million pound business that he owns, so
I think everyone would perhaps, no matter what they said or didn't say to you, I think everyone would agree with that, really would.
Hopefully. I'm not a moaner, and I think if you subscribe to these podcasts or watch my videos, I'm generally realistic.
Yeah, we try to be.
That was how I felt. I felt a little bit disappointed. I felt like I'd been politicians.
What have people said? Because I think you tweeted out there about what did you not? Put a tweet out about people saying what they would have hoped he said.
Yeah, so we'll do that after we do the Reading game. So lots, and
Okay.
I retweeted everybody who disagreed, except those who were impolite. I'll know. There's a way to disagree with someone
Weren't
politely.
your Millwall mate again, was it?
Peter Coupland? No, I think my hair looks.
Named him. Well, named him.
My hair looks very nice today. Thank you, Dave. Shall we go to the Majeski Stadium in
Can
Berkshire?
just before we start, can we just do? Do you think we just do a bit? I've done a little bit on the new deals offered and 1 year options on Richard Wright's son, Conor McKendry, who's been getting really good
Conor
reviews.
McGregor.
Conor McGregor, who's been getting really good reviews in the under 23s, a winger, Irish winger. They've taken another year option on him, and more significantly, which I think everyone's genuinely pleased about.
Teddy.
Although I have seen Teddy Bishop. Perhaps this is his one last chance, hopefully, at a injury-free season, and which I think is great. Look, we know there's a player in there somewhere. Hopefully he can stay injury-free. No, very quiet on Luke Hyam. Nothing said on him. Nothing said on McGoldrick. Did say that although the Bart contract not yet signed, obviously the club would take out the year on him. Shock. And the only one so far, well, I think they've released some scholars, but the only one on a sort of full contract was that Chris Gattini that came in January from that French guy. I think has never.
Oh,
really
well,
been
the one
heard
that the previous manager signed and then said he was terrible because he was knackered, isn't it?
Yeah, so it turns out he was spot on.
How many days do you think there'll be between the club taking out the option on Bart and him being sold? I reckon it'll be less than a week.
I don't even want to think about that. I don't want to entertain that, to be honest.
Okay.
Gosh. But look, yeah, that wouldn't surprise anyone, I don't think.
We're going to Reading Day.
Sorry, yeah.
And you were there with the Renegade Statman.
We were all there yesterday, yeah. And Lord Pat Lewis as well.
making his return.
Making his return, yeah. Good fun day. One or two mishaps on the way, including inadvertently logging stat in my car for about 5 minutes.
Well, I think there's a lot of people on Twitter who would endorse locking stat in lots of places for longer than 5 minutes.
Really,
as well.
Stat, I know he will listen. We really weren't trying to make a getaway. It was a genuine error, but that was quite amusing.
Unbelievable scene. So, Dave,
yeah.
Reading at the start of the day in a pretty all right position, 5 points above the relegation zone with Burton and Bolton playing each other. Barnsley hadn't won for weeks and weeks. They were
in a lovely position. I mean, I think we
needed a point basically.
Yeah, a point would have seen them. Well,
assuming everyone else was going to lose, yeah.
Yeah, but wow, as it turns out,
not so much. So Reading lined up Manone in goal, Gunter, Richards. So Blackett was suspended. Moore and Ilori were the back four. Swift and Kelly were sat. Aluko off to the right, Barrow off to the left, Kermagant slightly withdrawn, and John Daddy Bodvarsson linked to Ipswich up front. And Dave, what about this team? Hey, what about this? The class of 2017, I guess. Bart in goal, Webster, no Carter Vickers there. Webster, the kind of fulcrum in the three centre halves. Knudsen, captain, off to his left. You like that? Fulcrum. Luke Wolfenden makes his league debut. We saw him for a half at Luton and at Palace. In the Carabao Cup. Jordan Spence.
We can say that now, can't we? Spence.
At right wing back. Miles Kenlock continues his run of appearances and doesn't look unfit or out of puff at all. No. Callum Connolly and Tristan Nydam, kind of a midfield two. No Cole Skews. I had trouble tracking Carayal for the first 20 minutes. He
had a free roll, or he seemed to.
Well, he started off in the middle, and Falami looked up front. And after about 10 minutes, Hogg came out, and he put them both on the wings. And then 5 minutes later, he swapped them. So it ended up with Carayal. Okay. Yeah, Carayal basically ended up. You can see I've edited my thing about 20 times there for that.
Yeah, that's Shaylee's writing. That's not yours, by the way.
The scruffy is mine.
Yeah, scruffy is yours.
So Carayel ended up on the right and Falami on the left for most of it, with Martin Waghorn, the standard bearer, the man upholding standards at Ipswich Town.
How
now.
many times? I only really noticed that yesterday because usually I don't stand behind the goal and see it. But how many times does a ball get played in the channel? And he's great because and it's away from him, but he'll always give it the. Jeez.
And
instead, what he should
how
be
many
done
times does he moan at someone and I go, yeah, you got a fair point there, Waghorn. You get absolutely bugger all
But
service.
from what I see, you see him more than me. What I see, he's always one saying, "Yeah, okay, it was a shit ball, but good try." He's like this.
He's the standard bearer.
God.
No Chambers, no skews.
He is. No, absolutely.
Yeah, he's the standard bearer. Dave, the first 10 minutes of this game was rubbish. Do you agree?
I think you nailed it there, mate. It was pretty poor.
No intensity. Both sides would have taken a draw there. Carroll goes down the right on 13, smashes it in low. They're all arriving. They deal with Waghorn quite well.
It's a knock. Yeah,
he did. I think he was being a bit naughty there. He literally faced. Yeah, he was
doing a Joe Garner,
playing possum there. Oh, well, he's learnt from the best there, hasn't he? Nice turn by Carroll on 16. Dave feeds Kenlock down the left. Chips it back. Carroll, good right-footed volley. Now I'm getting quite blind in my old age. I thought that hit Falami, not the defender. But I don't know if anyone's seen that on the TV. He shoots into the crowd, and Falami and presumably Ilori or Moore was with him. But good shot.
I think I must have been texting at the time and didn't see that.
Good play by Kenlock. Red enforcer corner. You'd have got a good view of this, Dave. Second ball falls to Kermigan. I think Waghorn makes the block there on the near post.
Missed that as well.
Wow, a good chance that.
No, I did. I really was there.
Bodvarsson, chest and volley out for a corner. Nice football on 23. Nidem Falami. Nidem's a good player, Dave. Do you know you were ahead of the curve on him? You figured him out before I did.
Player, mate. Gets his head up. Good player. And surprisingly strong as well. But I noticed yesterday.
He's getting there, isn't he? He's getting there. Yeah. Although when he has his hair really short, he looks about 14 years old, doesn't he? But
give him a pre-season on those weights, mate. He'll be all right.
Yeah, sometimes that works against players, though, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? They
come back a bit muscle bound. Yeah.
Anyway, nice football. Nide and Falami, they can all play one touch, can't they? Carroll goes into space. Good strike from 30 yards.
A hit.
Yeah, swerved a bit, and Benoni.
Yeah.
You see, I think Benoni's good. He makes the save. I do, Dave. I promise. I think he's a good shot stopper who's been a little bit confused by being managed by Yap Stamfer.
Don't you think? I always think he's got the look and a name of an Italian nightclub bouncer. Don't you think?
Sicilian,
or one of these old Sicilian mafia films. I don't know, The Untouchables or something like that. I'm sure he was an extra in one of them.
Kenlock, lovely run here. Bit of a lame attempt to get a penalty, but really enjoying Kenlock at the moment, I have to say. Kenlock's improved in the air as well, hasn't he?
Hey, Kenlock's good. I like Kenlock. He's quite confident as well. He don't mind stepping inside on his weaker foot either, does he?
All these academy players can play. It's almost like someone's been blind to this for the past few years, isn't it?
Look who the coaches have
Reading
been.
should score, Dave, on 27. Barrow down the left. The one time he actually has some. I bet you were saying Barrow. He's got loads of pace, but no end product. I bet you were saying that, weren't you?
I was coming out with all sorts of rubbish. Like, yeah, Barrow. He's very quick. He's got wheels, isn't he? He's rubbish like that. All sorts of crap.
Barrow.
Sack Barrow. He's got no end product, but he's certainly quick.
Lovely cross in for Bodvarsson. Silly.
Oh.
Completely misses his kick, Dave.
Yeah, someone next to me, I didn't know, nudged me and said, "Is that the twat we were trying to sign from Wolves?" I said, "Yep, he's the man."
I think Reading paid good money for him as well.
I think so.
Yeah. Carriel pounces on a loose ball. We must just say, Reading far more efficient, expedient in passing out of the back.
Oh, goodness me!
I
like Kelly in midfield, and Swift's a nice player.
Good name for a footballer, especially the counter-attack he's going to do in the second half. Waghorn beats his man, cuts back on his left foot, tries his, what I'll call a Sheffield Wednesday curler for the far post. Dave, Nidem's arriving there. I know if you're Waghorn and you get bad service all season, when you get in the box, you deserve to have a shot, don't you? But
especially worked on his left foot. Yeah, he just didn't quite. Yeah, too close for that.
Good play by Ipswich, Dave. Connolly blocks. Spence follows up down the right. I'm thinking, win a corner, Spence, win a corner. And he manages to stand it all the way up to the back post. Falami's free, and he's a bit overcautious with the shot. Redding breaks straight out, and Aluko should play Barrow into the space, but plays it alongside him instead of ahead of him. Barrow carries on and drives over. Wolfenden looked a bit scared, but I think he played Barrow quite well whenever he's 1-to-1. He retreated, but he didn't look like... Because if I was playing Barrow, Dave, I'd be like, I'm just going to back off. The worst thing I can do is let him run past me, and if I just back off, he's going to do a terrible cross or hit it over, isn't he?
Wolfenden played him well. He was confident. I think he was confident. The boy's obviously got quite a bit of pace himself, and he's a big, strong boy. No, I thought he played him well.
Barrow right to left, and a weak curler at Bart. Carriel, don't know what happened there. On comes Freddie Sears on 41.
See, I like Carriel. I think he's something different. He's got that really quick burst of pace. Trouble is, he has a 5-yard burst of pace, and then the next minute he's tweaked his hamstring or whatever he's done. He's just that's what I think. I like him, I really do, but you're not going to get in this stage. Obviously, I don't know, he's 31, something like that. Clearly, you're just not going to get any. I don't think you're going to get a lot more out of him, unfortunately.
Unless,
but nice sort of player to have.
Unless he would accept some kind of some kind of special David Diamond deal.
Yeah.
I'm sure you write stuff like that all the time at work, Dave, don't you?
Mostly.
Yeah, there you go. But that would be the way to do it, wouldn't it? Rated on a good wage for when he plays and performance related. Kelly bends in the free kick, last kick at the half. Kermorgant glances the header, not going through. Pretty
rubbish half.
Pretty rubbish half, but still, Dave. Completely different style from
Ipswich.
I think so. Now. No harem scarum, and
no.
I know Spencer's going to have quite the second half, but the only two players who looked uncomfortable with the Klug, Hogg, Nash style was Spence and Knudsen.
I agree. Yeah, I'd agree with that. First half, yeah.
Although I really did enjoy Knudsen's attempts at captaincy, even right from the start, after they'd done their handshakes, he stood and he was trying to get everybody going. And as a player who I don't want to say his name, the previous manager would have he's that
Close.
type. All the defending and ugly stuff he's very, very good at. But if you want to play a
Man City
style,
type football,
well, not necessarily Man City type football, but
I know.
Certainly
he's
not going to be able to play fullback in that style, Dave.
He's not your man, but I like him. I said I think his best position for us is where he played yesterday.
Left side of a 3.
Yeah.
Definitely. Richards gets caught out by Sears on the right wing. Can't quite find Waghorn. Bit of a key moment on 48, Dave, because Richards goes off injured, which means Chris Gunter has to swap sides and go and play at right-footed at left back. Ilori goes to play right back, and Elphick, who they spent good money on as well, comes and plays.
Forgot he was there.
Centre back with Moore. So you just got to remember that the left back is now
right-footed player. Yeah.
Nice run by Swift. Shoots and wins a corner from the corner. Touched on, and the big pole, Dave. A big, huge Andre the Giant style pour. Yeah, poured it, didn't
he? Poured it out.
Yeah,
good
reaction.
Love it. Good reaction.
Threaded through to Aluko inside right spot. He stands up. Knudsen plays him quite well, actually. Tries to curl it round him, but it's just not that good. Doesn't it prove, Dave, that and Mikey said this on the preview show, that a lot of what was good about Aluko was Johansson and Kearney. Aita.
Yeah, I mean, if you got the service they're going to give you, you can hug the touchline and have a lovely old time, can't you?
Absolutely. Weak shot from Sears, hits the target, but Luco and Kermorgant combine well. Chipped over to Barrow, he chests it down, but no end product, Dave. Gunter gets put in a really good crossing position, but as I mentioned, he's on his wrong side, and Bart swamps that up. It's like Bart, when anyone gets near him, grows about 6 inches, doesn't he? And he's like, no, not happening. Barrow stands up a nice cross. Luco coming in on the volley. And Dave, I had this down 68, the real key moment. So Ipswich have a corner, and it's a really good breakout by
Brilliant.
Redding.
Would have been a hell of a goal. Would have been a great goal.
Yeah, so I think Kelly gets it to Swift, and then it goes out to Bodvarsson. great cross by Bodvarsson, and
Yeah.
Swift kind of on the half volley gets a really good
technique, just
contact.
centre of the goal, either side, because he hits it really well. Either side of Bart that's in, doesn't sound silly, but that's
no. I said exactly the same on my post-match.
He didn't say Bart got lucky. It's still a great reaction save, but you've seen him make those saves so often. But
the thing
brilliant.
about Bialkowski though is if there's a shot he should save, he generally saves it, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah,
he doesn't
do you know what I
mean?
mean?
Does he? No.
If that had been Archer for Millwall, that's 1-0, isn't it? Yeah. And then Dave, Reading are hemming Ipswich in. They're on top basically on 70 minutes, and the ball breaks out to Freddie Sears with two Reading players on him.
This is great work by Sears. Brilliant. He drives past the first. I'm not sure. It might be Kelly, but I'm not sure who he actually beat first of all.
But Dave, there's a lovely bit where he looks and he's like, "Okay, I've got no support.
I've got to go.
I'll go down the channel."
Fantastic. So he commits. I think it's Kelly. Commits him. Literally skips past him. Outpaces and really sort of like outpaces Gunter as such. He does sort of get back to cover.
Poor Gunter.
And initially you think, Freddie, it's not a great ball really, is it? Not a brilliant ball. We do get lucky because I think Gunter does get back, gets the block on, falls to Spence, and Spence sort of takes it forward on an angle. And great awareness really by Spence, because he could really expect him to get it out of his feet and have a lash there. And I don't think anyone really would have had a go really if he, blazed it over, but had a go. But to be fair, it's the presence of mind. And I take the championship show this morning and I stilled it when he passes the ball to Waghorn. I don't know if you've done that. There are 5 defenders,
awful
no other
marking.
Ipswich player, marking, nothing. And so Waghorn is probably on the edge of the 6-yard box, in line as it turns out with Moore, and Moore's like 2 yards off him. He's literally the pass. It's ridiculous. He's got time to control it with it. All right, he does it really well. He's only about 6 yards out, but he's got time to control it with his left and swivel and just half volley at point blank range. Yeah, fantastic.
And I said at the time, Waghorn, if he gets rubbish service, he won't score. You give him any kind of service, scores all the time.
Yeah,
great player.
No, good goal. Look, a balance of play. Yeah, probably Reading. Yeah, given the chance before, probably had slightly upper hand second half. Not a lot in it though, so you couldn't say it was totally undeserved. No way,
Barrow's cross deflects off Spence, balloons up in the air. From where I'm sitting, it's going in the corner, but Kenlock's watching it. Well. Watches it wide.
So where were you? So where as I was
to the left of the director's box.
Okay, yeah.
So Gleeson comes on, Dave, for Nydam. Nydam lasts 76, which is
played well.
He's a good player.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Give him 50 games. How much is he worth? 78th minute, Dave. Ben Falami of the academy comes out and charges down a clearance and plays a beautiful ball out to Waghorn. Dave, half volley outside of the foot. In comes Waghorn. Cuts inside. His shot comes back, and I'm taking this. This is my favourite thing that happened yesterday.
I know what you're going to say.
Luke Wolfenden, who is, how old is he, Dave? 19?
Yeah, 19, yeah.
Right. Gets the ball under pressure. You know what the instructions from the other manager would be. It would be, right, get that defence up, halfway line, keep the pressure on, launch that into the middle of the box or back down the channel.
Back down the channel. Now the ball there, I see it time. It's where I sit, isn't it? It's where I sit.
Okay.
Chip down the channel. It's a chip every time. I try and get some backspin, so we can perhaps at least try and get a corner.
Dave, he takes a touch. He's not afraid of that there's a guy near him, and he plays it into Waghorn's feet. And I just love the contrast between a player coached by Gerard Nash as opposed to a player coached by the previous manager. And then from there it goes into Waghorn. And Dave, you love this touch. You can take it from
it's
here.
A sublime touch. But the beauty of the ball from Wolfenden is it's not just the presence of mind of the ball. It's the pace, exactly. It's the intensity and the commitment of the pass, which makes it easy for Waghorn to play that little knock round the corner.
Good player like Waghorn, he'll take that all day. He'll say, "Now, visit into me."
It's a sublime touch. And the pass itself it's quite a clever pass from Wolfenden because it takes out 2 players. It actually completely takes 2 players out of the game. fantastic touch and waggle, and I think I put it to Spence, who gallops. I mean, I think he's got Spence. He's got the freedom of the mad stad, hasn't it? I mean, there's just no one there, and of course, so he advances not a too dissimilar position to the earlier position when he picks out Waggle, but they just let him go.
They're like, he's not going to shoot, aren't they?
And it gets to the point where, well, he's got to have a shot there. No one's, he has 1-0 up. He's got to have a crack there. And he is so close. Okay, it goes through Manoni, but he was so close to him and he hits it so hard and low. Yeah, you got to say Manoni's fault, but yeah, he just hits it really well. Nice and close to Manoni. He can't. It goes right through him.
But come on, Dave, he just hits it as hard and low as he
can,
doesn't he?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, again, it's shocking defending. But yeah, great. Good for Spence, who'd been on a bit of a. He started the season quite well goal-wise, didn't he? Been on a bit of a barren run since then, but great stuff, yeah.
Clement, who I actually feel a bit sorry for, reacts by putting Martin on for Bodvarsson and then Smith on for Kermigan. Barry Cotter comes on. Nice to see him for Falami. Falami was good, Dave. That's the best game he's had, I believe.
Yeah, I think Falami's good. I think he's got great awareness, good touch, and the ball to Waggle, and probably arguably other than Wolford, and probably the pass of the day. Still up against some rugged defenders. At only 18, still needs to be a bit more stronger probably. But that again, like we said with Nyden, that will come. Yeah, good player.
And we get into stoppage time, Dave. And I think it's Webster is just clearing his lines. And was it Ilori or Elphick? I don't know who it was.
It was Gunter.
Oh, Gunter had a horrible.
No. Do you know what would have summed this goal up? I was thinking afterwards when I was doing it this morning. Put the Benny Hill music to this goal.
So what I'm thinking is Sears has probably had 3 years of chase it down, Freddie. You might force him. You might force the keeper to put it out for a throw on or whatever.
So it's their corner. So they have the corner, and it's almost a rehearsed one. So I think they chip it to the edge of the box, don't they? And he takes a terrible touch. It's quite rightly you say. Webster just hoofs it up at 2-0.
We're playing back six at this point.
Certainly okay with this. And this reminded me, this very much, and I'm sure people will remember this very much reminded me of the Chaplow goal at Watford when Sears wins it. Very similar bit of play. The ball's played forward. The 1-0 when Chaplow scores in the 95th minute or whatever it is. It's 14-15. He harries a defender, and Gunter probably does the right thing, because what defenders shouldn't do in that respect. The ball's past him, going over him. Don't let it bounce. You let it bounce, and you're all over the show. Probably does the right thing. Doesn't get enough on it. Sears is quick still, and he is quick, Sears. And this is a comedy from then, and it's great for Sears because how many times has he done that? The keeper's got there and just hoofs it out, or he could hit his knee and shoot out for a throw or something. But it's about 40 yards out. Manoni gets good contact, great contact on it, but against Freddie's shins, basically. And it just goes. You see it happening in slow motion, sort of.
But Dave, there's a beautiful moment where it goes up in the air, and you're like,
I was going to spin away.
Hang on a minute. Yeah. That's going right into the goal.
And I'm sort of going, Freddie! And it's just great for him, isn't it? The ball goes one big, massive bounce, and it's like, by the time he's run onto it, he's like, 3 yards out? Gunter tries to get back, he's getting nowhere, and he just bops
Bless him as well, Sears. He's like, right, I'm going to seriously make sure. He's really watching it. He's like, right, the worst is going to happen. He's going to foul me.
Yeah. But it's fantastic, mate. Brilliant. And what was lovely about that, how all the team celebrated, I know it's only a little thing and people have said about it, but including Bart that ran from his own goal. And that's probably, the magic moment of yesterday, wasn't it, really? Brilliant. 38 games going back to...
So when was it, Newcastle?
Easter Monday last year. Well, Easter was, to be fair, Freddie, Easter was probably 2 weeks later last year. But yes, 38 games. But yeah, very much. You look at that Watford goal, with Chaplow goal at Watford, Sears does exactly the same thing.
And then fantastic. Just extraordinary on 94 minutes. Dave, I've watched, I think that was my 54th game this season, right? And I promise I'm not making this up for entertainment effect. They played the centre-back, they played the kick-off back to the centre-half. Waghorn stole it, and when Waghorn got it, I said, they're gone. They're done. Yeah. We're gonna score again. I said that straight away, and I have never in my life seen a more shell-shocked. they couldn't move, they couldn't run, they couldn't pass,
It was.
you knew as soon as Waghorn got it and everyone goes flying forward. I'm like, they're going to score. It just had the most. Anyway, you take over. I've never seen anything like it.
I keep comparing these goals. Again, this is very similar to a goal and very similar to a Newell scored 3 or 4 seasons ago. Palace at home, McCarthy's first season, we beat them 3-0, I think. And funny enough, the scoring went like that. I think we're 3-0 up at half time. We just scored. I think it might have been stupid goal. Anyway, and exactly the same thing. The ball's played exactly the same to the centre half. Takes a terrible touch, and Newell nips in. But yeah, yesterday the ball was a bit of tippy tappy stuff, and I felt sorry. The ball was played to Elphick, who just hasn't played. He's been there months. Just a terrible, terrible touch. And Waghorn is away. And when Waghorn gets the ball and starts driving at people, he commits defending. Connolly, fantastic. I mean, the ground, obviously, as you say, they're all shut. They were past caring by that time.
But he knew he was scoring, Connolly, didn't he?
Oh,
as
yeah.
Soon as he
Great
starts
finish.
to run. Yeah.
Great. Obviously, gives Waghorn the big shout on his shoulder. Waghorn just plays it in great way. A class finish, but pressure off at 3-0. But yeah, great finish. Manoni committed and clips it in the far corner. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, very good.
Very uncomfortable viewing to see pro footballers freeze
more
like
uncomfortable.
that, isn't it?
I don't know if you wouldn't have hung around, but and we really didn't hang around. But we got back to the car, and don't forget that was Reading's last home game of the season.
Oh, lap of honour, yeah. Lap of dishonour.
And they were saying because it is in Reading, people getting back to town have to take the bus. And the commentators, they were saying on Radio Berkshire, we put it on in the car, and the commentators are saying, well, are they coming out? Oh, this is terrible from the club. So we don't know if they're coming out or not. And then they were saying, oh, people have just missed, all the buses would have gone. People who had to walk back into town, well, what was that, 3 miles or whatever. So they were up in, I think it was A.D. Williams and Mick Goodin, I think, does the summarising there. But yeah, some good callers, some quite good callers on Radio Berkshire, and they're really, after yesterday, not hopeful that they can see the worst scenario happening next Sunday.
So pretty incredible afternoon with those 2 goals. So 4-0 away win. We won't ruin anything Statman might come up with.
I want to hear this because I can't believe it's happened.
Come up with later. Yeah. Incredible, and I think just what all the fans needed. A lot of sarcastic careful what you wish fors, which I very much enjoyed yesterday. But it's wonderful to see the team win playing passing football, and two, the team comfortably win in the Championship with Wolfenden, Kenlock, Nydam, all playing, saying we're fine.
The average age of the outfield players was 23.
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And I don't want to ruin the Twitter question as well, but I think a few lads. I mean, we don't want to get carried away. Reading were in some weird moment, and the collapsing.
They were like
that
old saying. They were like trapped rabbits and scared rabbits in headlights, weren't they? I mean, literally. Oh my goodness me! It was almost. I mean, you're an Ipswich fan, brilliant, but it's almost uncomfortable.
It was. So biggest winning margin of the season, and if you remember the Sunderland game, a lot of that was down to that was the one game they played 4-2-3-1, and McGoldrick, Selina, and Waghorn all played well at the same time, didn't they?
Weren't they?
Yeah. So I mean, and that was the game where Waghorn got 3 assists, didn't he? And a goal. And
we had. Don't forget that game. I think we had Adiemi playing, people like that in that game. I mean, we had a much more experienced side against them. But I did not see that coming. Just quickly, just give him a shout because he's a great lad. I met Kevin Major at half time.
Is he the fella that works in the factory?
Yeah. He said, I look forward to, he's on shift tonight. He said, I really look forward to listening to the pod. And we said at half time, he said, whoa, this is not great, is it? He said, and he said, no, not really. This has got like 0-0 written all over it, which I said, like you do. So, to be fair, that'll probably suit Reading. But no, good shout out to Kev. He's a good lad. And like I said today to him, I said, we really did not see that happening at half time.
So the Twitter question I put out, Dave, was 2 parts. So one on Evans, biggest plus and biggest minus of the interview. And what I asked was which of the players involved yesterday will be the core members of the team next
Wow.
season. So, as usual, I'm scrolling down and down and down, and I will apologise if your tweet doesn't get read out. We'll try and read all of them, but we do very, very much appreciate everyone tweeting in. This is at Rob Crabwalk. Evans plus admitting to past mistakes and showing willingness to learn from them. Minus still unsure what he's really looking for in a new manager and if he'll come across as ambitious enough to them. This is Paul Warner. Phil, if we can agree a deal for Connolly, could be a massive player for us. Waghorn was massively effective, even though he was quiet for 70 minutes. I agree. Give him some service, though. Webster was impressive and looked after Wolfie really well. Get Bart's contract sorted and as a spine of a decent team. This is Brad Lloyd. Biggest plus, Evans is speaking to us. Biggest minus, no more investment. Jack Phillips might struggle to keep Waghorn. A lot of clubs will be interested with a year left on his contract. Neidham will be a key member next year from recent performances post-Mick. Also think big plus from Evans' interview was intent of a manager that plays football from the back where possible. Richard at Broadreach. Emmy, huge positive, reading or not, he says. Level-headed, pragmatic owner aware of fans' priorities. Hope all youngsters are involved next season. Spence, Waghorn a given. Bart, fingers crossed. This is Dan Glosier. It may be obvious, it may not, but Waghorn really jumps out as the guy who could be an ITFC cult hero when we look back. Don't want to speak too soon, but we could be viewing him as we do, and he's named some other luminaries. Simon English, biggest plus was the fact that we've heard from the head man, which we've missed since Sheepshanks was at the helm. Biggest negative was how false and scripted the interview undoubtedly was. James Monk, Evans spoke well, scripted or not. Don't know what people expect from him. As for the players, pretty much what everyone else said, but it's good to see these youngsters perform in the first team. See the qualities at last. Matt Thomas, I think all the players should be in the core squad with Bishop, Downs, Dazelle, Adiemi, Hughes, Garner, Chambers, Etel. If we get a low knee, they must only be top notch every game, as we don't need fillers. Dave, can we, after we do all the tweets, can we discuss Waghorn and can we discuss the tactic of bringing in an expensive low knee? Because I don't think we need to do that next season. Adam Williams. Adam's a Reading boy, isn't he? He works for the BBC down there. Biggest plus, he clearly realises the need to arrest growing supporter apathy. Biggest minus, the cringy stage-managed nature of it done through the club's own media channels. Would love to see players like Falami, Wolford and Cotter become pivotal squad members. Luke Moles, positive confirmation he's not a mentalist. Negative, budgets won't change. Very good, Luke. Webster, Neidham, Waghorn, Falami, and hopefully Bart. Jules, well done, Jules. Hello. Biggest minus, new manager after the season ticket deadline. Yes, we said it was going to be quite late. Plus something different, which could mean anything, but I believe will be a director of football. Wolfenden, Webster, Cotter, Kenlock, Bishop, Neidham, also Dazelle heavily and Downs. Well done, Klug. James, the Nasdaq. Biggest minus, wasting my life watching it. There we go. Andrus Christensen, the Evans interview was honest and direct, scripted or not. I can't fault it. Key players next season will be Bart, Webster, Skews and Waghorn. Wolfen and Dazelle could become regulars. Ian at ITFC Clan. Plus, reliance on youth, need to entertain leaving footy and running of the team to new manager. No minus for me, but appointment key. Waghorn, Kenlock, Neidham, Falami, Wolfie and Webby. All fit. We have a great exciting squad of you. Can't wait until August. I'm so sorry. Let's mention the names. Alistair, Paul. Oh, these are legends of the podcast as well. Simo, Joe, Blue Blood ITFC, John Nailon. Sorry, we're gonna have to move on. Dave, discuss. Martin Waghorn is now our most valuable player. Age 28. He's got to be worth more than Bart now, hasn't he? 15 goals, 10 assists.
I don't think so. Not saying he's a great player. I'd say transfer fee. Yeah, I suppose goalkeeper. What's he got? A year left on his contract? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Age 28. 15 goals, 10 assists.
31. Yeah, I think perhaps with hindsight, perhaps you're right. And I think there will be some interest in him. Maybe one of the relegated Premier League. I'm not saying a Premier League team, but certainly.
There is a mitigating factor, Dave. It's easy for him to stand out when Skews and Chambers, Garner,
Yeah,
all
not
of them
senior.
aren't there. He's so clearly the best outfield player when
senior player. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I see interest coming from perhaps the relegated clubs, or dare I say it, someone like him who probably won't get up, someone like a Derby, someone like that.
But they always want these guaranteed championship goals, and he's going to be one of those guys. And
he's been a fantastic signing. He really has. And
he has.
If from what we understand, it was almost the make weight in the deal, so it was $1 million, and apparently, so we understand. So I understand 3/4 of that was for Ghana. I mean, it's ridiculous, really. What are they seeing? Oh Christ! I watched Rangers Celtic today. My God, what are they seeing that we're not? Well, what haven't they seen that we did?
Do you think they should ditch this tactic of a Maitland-Niles, a Fraser, a Selena, a Lawrence, and because the other thing I was going to say, Dave, is are people contradicting themselves by saying we want the owner to buy new players, but we want him to promote youth? You can't really, you can't really do both.
It's a sticky one. Out of all the loan players, I think certainly that we've had this season. I mean, don't get me wrong, we've been thoroughly, jolly well entertained by all those. Selena, some of the goals he scored this year. Obviously, Lawrence, we've spoken about enough the goals last year. All right, the little cameo of Fraser, who I think me and you both thought that potentially was the best of the lot. Johnny Williams, well, yeah, okay, little cameos when he was fit. I think out of all the loan signings that we've had, I like Connolly, but I think Carter Vickers would be a great loan signing for us next year.
But I'm talking just as a strategy. Would you now rather see? I mean, in midfield, look.
Of course you would. Of course. I mean, Christ Almighty, if everyone's fit in midfield, Ben.
You don't need Connolly or a loan.
Well,
I know Connolly's a good player.
He is. But if everyone's fit, big if. You're not, because Hughes is going to play. I'd have Hughes in my team. I think 99% of us would have Hughes as a starter, wouldn't they? Where are these other players going to play? They're just not.
But Dave, rather than invest in the thick end of probably $500,000 plus,
absolutely, when you've got
Callum
these players
Connolly,
coming through, you've got Nydam. We all said okay against a fairly poor, let's face it, Reading side, looked more than comfortable yesterday. Flynn Downs, who I'm not sure what he's been odd. He's been in and out with Luton. He started off
he's not been playing at all, has he?
Train. I think he was on Young News sub yesterday. I mean, you'd think that would be anyway good experience for him. You've got obviously Dazelle come back. I mean,
very quickly, Dave. Danny Rowe is the National League Player of the Year.
Is that true though? Is that according to your mate?
I think that's true. I think it's true.
Wowzers!
I think it's been announced in the last.
Bloody hell! I mean, look, I liked him. I mean, I thought he had something about him in the little that I saw of him before he went. So again, he's our player. He's got to come back into the equation. So I think no, from that point of view, I don't see any necessity for that at the certainly at the start of next season. If these players can all make up the squad and Christ have a run of injury-free games for Christ's sake, between all of them. But I think out of all the players, I would like to see if we had an opportunity, and hopefully Klug could be the barometer, the deciding factor there. I'd like to see Carter Vickers back. I think he's a great player.
Is there all these people asking for a director of football? Would Brian Klug not be the best man to do that now?
I don't think he wants it, and I don't think, from what I understand, I don't think he wants it. I think he's just happy to work with the younger players. I don't think so. No.
But if that's going to be the strategy, he needs to have a direct line to the manager. There's no point Klug and Nash training all these players like Wolfenden a totally different philosophy from the manager.
I think, Ben, it just depends who comes in.
Just really. Quickly talk to me, Dave. Where are you on Spence, Cotter and Josh Emmanuel? Rotherham Young Player of the Year.
Yeah, Josh Emmanuel. Look, I want to see. I think Josh Emmanuel. We all said we like Josh Emmanuel. He's strong, he's big, he's built like a bloody tank athlete. And obviously had a very good season extremely good season with Rotherham. You'd think he's going to come back a better player, a more experienced player for sure. I'd like to see him given his chance.
You'd like to see them keep this three at the back and the wing backs, and
you'd like to see
Kenlock be the guy at left wing back.
Don't forget, Cotter we've just seen for just over a half, who was great
55 minutes,
against Barnsley. So don't let's don't get carried away there.
But Emmanuel's gone and played League One for a whole season.
Look,
Now.
yeah, absolutely. I think Spence come back. Emmanuel come back. And I don't. Spence is perhaps a bit Marmite, isn't he? He has some great games and he has some quite iffy. But don't forget, Spence is quite adaptable because he also can play right side centre back as well.
I'm not saying. I'm just thinking, that you're starting to build back three and wing backs around Webster, Wolfenden, Kenlock, Emmanuel. Those players. Cotter.
There's obviously going to be some wastage within the squad over the summer, and some no doubt will go. But look, any manager coming in and looking at the players he's got when they're all fit at his disposal, there's a good squad. There's a good championship squad there. And, get the younger players. This is all good experience for the likes of Nydam, Falami, Wolfenden. I think the result yesterday more than anything that not, almost secondary, because I think 1-0 would have been great. Great 4-0.
That team winning a championship game.
Brilliant. Yeah. Fantastic. Let's face it, against a team that weren't going for the motions, that still had something to play for, But no, it's good. And, I think it's great. It just sets it up, I think, lovely. For next Sunday, feel good day. It's 40 years since we won the cup.
Borough guaranteed playoffs.
Yeah, a bit disappointed there. You'd like Borough still to have had something to play for, just to give the game a bit more edge, Because I don't know about you, they can be pipped, can't they? But at the moment they're playing.
No, they're guaranteed playoffs. Oh, they can be pipped to fifth place. Yeah.
Yeah. So at the moment, I think they're playing Villa, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's Villa, Middlesbrough. So I can see him resting some players, though, can't you?
Yeah, I was looking forward to seeing Traore.
Yeah,
but I think
someone like maybe not him, someone like Longer, who, all right, he's still there. I think he's still their highest scorer this season. I think he's got 15, but he's been in and out with injury, so you can see him perhaps being sort of wrapped in a very large bit of cotton wool.
Let's go to the roundup, Dave. Wolves Wednesday, we don't care. They're champions. They need 1 point for 100. Right, Dave, I was at Derby versus Cardiff on Tuesday night, where it looked like they'd stuffed it up, but they still went away to Hull yesterday.
It's a good result.
It's a great result under pressure.
How was just quickly looked a decent game, Derby game?
They've reverted even more. The football they play is awful, dreadful. Cardiff, awful.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Right,
absolutely awful. Even worse than I think Warnock said. Play it absolutely safe. Dave, they're playing for throw-ins in their own half. No, I'm not joking. I'm not joking. But Morrison goes over from centre back, drives the ball. Yeah. Medine goes over. Gunnarsson goes underneath him. He hurls it down the line. Yeah. They then win another throw, and then Gunnarsson throws it in the box.
Look, don't you think it's got to this stage? It's got to this stage of the season, and Warnock's just said, "Look, just win. We're going to grind this out. Yeah. Grind it out, and
don't lose any goals. You're so good at set plays that there's a likelihood you're going to score."
Man, did you see Morrison's second goal? That's a centre half. That second goal yesterday when he steps inside.
A centre half for Warnock though is different than that's basically your main attacking player, isn't it? A centre half. No, Morrison goes up for every one of Gunnarsson's throw-ins.
Yeah. Oh, you would, though. Yeah.
Bamber and Morrison, yeah.
Great finish, and look, it looks like they're going to.
They're going to do it because they've got blooming Reading at home, haven't they?
Oh my God! Looks like they're going to get the job done. Yeah.
The one thing you need to beat Cardiff is not footballing skill, is character, isn't it? To just keep concentrating while the ball's out of play for the whole game. Concentrate on all the throw-ins.
I didn't see a lot of that yesterday.
No, I did not. No.
Fear the worst, but look,
I was also at Fulham versus Sunderland on.
I know you were. God, man, they got away with one there, I think.
Well, that's the only thing that you possibly say next week is that you said you watched Cardiff against Forest and you said, "Oh, Cardiff were terrible. They were nervous as hell."
No,
I watched Fulham against Sunderland. These teams are crapping their pants about.
You made a really good analogy or comparison to that Palace game, didn't you?
I think that was you.
We did in that run in 2000.
Just
when that was a crap game, wasn't it? And then I think we won 1-0, and literally it was like edge of the seat like the bloody Alamo in the last like injury
But
time in
it's
last
the
10.
Brian Clough, the second European Cup final for Forest. His team talk was just win. Forget about tactics, just
I
win.
think, to be fair, I think he did tell Kenny Burns to kick Kevin Keegan up in the
Rummenigge or
air a few
Keegan, yeah,
times.
right, okay.
Yeah.
So it's a playoff, Dave. It's Cardiff at home to Reading. If Cardiff win, we don't really need to talk about Fulham because if Cardiff win, they're up. Are they going to do it?
Yeah, I think they will. Can we just say, I don't know, yeah, I'm sorry if you're going to come to this, the announcement from Sunderland this afternoon, Coleman's been sacked.
And I think they've sold, haven't they?
Yeah, they have, yeah.
Wow, that's the best news Sunderland fans will have had all year.
Oh, must be, yeah, he's sold
Yeah.
to the guy. It's an interesting one. It's this guy, I think his name's Stuart Donald or something. He's part of he owns Eastleigh. So he's one of these guys, benefactors, that pumped 10 million into Eastleigh, got him into the conference from the Conference South, and it just hasn't quite worked out. They haven't got up, and I don't think.
Do you know
not
Chris
even saw
Coleman never met Ellis Short?
Really?
It's ridiculous.
No, I
isn't
didn't
it?
know that.
Yeah,
No,
ridiculous.
So he was immediately installed in some areas as our favourite for the town job.
Yeah, I can't be bothered to talk about linked names. There's just too many, isn't there? So let's get into this playoff stuff, Dave, because we're running quite long. So Villa and Derby drew. So Villa guarantee fourth place. So they're definitely going to be at home second.
Yeah.
And Borough beat Millwall. So the dream is,
Millwall are out.
well, they're pretty out of it. On
And another in that game, second goal, another Cooper. I've got another Cooper stroke Archer, balls up.
Bless Archer, yeah, dear oh me.
Cooper as well.
You mentioned this before we hit record, Dave. Alex Neil.
Mate,
Preston
honestly,
go into the last game and they can
still with a chance.
Still make the playoffs. Yeah. Probably not going to, but still make the playoffs. So, Dave, quickly, Derby at home to Barnsley next week to guarantee sixth.
I mean, mate, who knows? You'd expect them to get the job done, but I saw Sunderland put four past them a few weeks ago. So Easter, Good Friday, wasn't it? Yeah. So God knows, mate. You'd expect Derby to get it done. Yeah.
Right. Let's go through these. Right. We'll do the relegation stuff at the end. So Barnsley beat Brentford, so that's the dream over for Brentford.
Yeah.
Did you see that goal by Kiefer Moore, where he looks in the middle to cross it? That looked quite deliberate.
No.
You know,
it was a cross, but did you see their subsequent miss again second half?
I did. Can we tweet in? I think Kiefer Moore meant to do that. So you're either Team Dave or Team Ben on that.
Stop it with yourself. Come on.
Come on. If Ronaldinho meant it, then.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I've just compared Kiefer Moore on. Forest v Bristol City. Don't care. Norwich 2, Leeds 1. So we went above one of these teams, and it was the wrong one, wasn't it? So Dave, Norwich are 1 point ahead of us.
Championship of Anglia, 1 point up.
They go away to Sheffield Wednesday, who are in quite decent nick.
Got a point at Wolves yesterday.
We've got a goal difference advantage. So if Norwich lose and Ipswich draw next week, then the cycle of finishing below Norwich for the past 100 years is done. Can we do it, Dave?
Quite an amusing guard of honour for Wes Hoolahan. That was his last home game yesterday.
I mean, let's just say this. We've said it many times. Wes Hoolahan has been an amazing opponent.
Fantastic player.
Scourge of us for years and years. But come on.
I don't say good. All I've got to say is, Wes, you've been a lovely player, but good riddance, mate.
Yeah, right. Rangers 3, Birmingham 1. Bad news for Birmingham.
Yeah.
But we'll come to the relegation summary. Dave. Burton 2, Bolton 0, right? Before the last 3 games, Burton's points per game was 0.76.
Unbelievable.
So their form over the past 3 games is 349% better than the rest of the season or something ridiculous.
It's the first time they've won 3 successive games since January 2016.
Wow.
I mean, this would be the biggest achievement of the lot, wouldn't it, if he pulls this one?
Let's go through this, Dave. So I'm going to read you from 19th down. Sunderland obviously are gone and happy with their new ownership now. Reading are on 43, minus 22 on the goals difference with Cardiff away.
So Reading, that's a home win for me. Home win, Cardiff up.
So Reading's down 43. Okay. Birmingham are below Reading. They're on the same number of points, 43, but they have a goal difference 10 worse. So minus 32,
and they've got
Fulham at home. So I can see a scenario where Cardiff Yeah, where Cardiff are 2-0 up at half time, Fulham are like,
Oh well. Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
ends up being a draw because it
Yeah, I
suits.
can see that a draw. Yeah.
If that was an Italian game, that would definitely be a draw, wouldn't it?
No, no.
Allegedly.
No, no.
Barnsley, who had a great day yesterday, moved out of the bottom three. They've got 41 points and a minus 21 goal difference, but they're going away to Derby, who are playing to keep sixth position.
You got to think Derby will do the job
They could
there,
all
but
lose, couldn't they? So Burton have also got 41 points, but a horrible goal difference of minus 42, and they're away at Preston, who, if Derby do mess up, can sneak in there. So Preston
I'd fancy Preston. I know Burton have had a great run, but I'd fancy Preston strongly there.
So Dave, you've got all of them losing, and then here's the big one: Bolton have got 40 points. They've got Forest at home.
See them winning that. That's the one win I can see.
So
that's almost the one win.
So if we go to form, which never ever happens, someone will choke.
Yeah.
19th could lose, 20th could lose, 21st could lose, 22nd could lose, and Bolton could leapfrog all the way. Well,
who would go down? Obviously Sunderland,
Barnsley,
Burton,
and Sunderland.
Barnsley would go.
And Reading would be safe. There is a scenario where if Birmingham draw, Barnsley win, Burton win, Reading are down.
You are, yeah. No, and they were seeing this yesterday on Radio Berkshire. They saw that like potential shitstorm. They were.
But Dave, that's a lot of bad teams have got to all win.
That's true though. But yeah, I think they were still shell shocked after. To be honest, after the game yesterday, and it was just there. Yeah, just the worst scenario for them. But look, let's see. Interesting. It's great though.
Very,
we don't want to be going into next week with everything cut and dried, would we?
What you don't want is an early goal in the Cardiff game. You want Cardiff to be 0-0 at half-time and Fulham to be winning. So there's a little bit of... Because I always remember being at Portman Road against Sheffield United and Bradford just kept scoring against Wolves, didn't they? And it was like, oh, come on, at least give me some hope,
Yeah. Then was it Wolves, Saul and Man City? Was it?
Man City bombarded. Hey, no, Man City went a goal down.
Blackburn, wasn't it?
Yeah, Man City went a goal down and then won 4-1. Mark Kennedy, Sean Goethe, Paul Dickov, and someone else at the end. Dave, Ipswich is 13th with 59 points from 45 games. They're at 1.31 points per game. So a draw next week will take them to 60 points for the season. We've mentioned the East Anglian Championship, the Arsene Wenger Cup, whatever you want to call it. Would be nice. A draw next week for Ipswich and a defeat for Norwich would Take that. Dave, top goals, Martin Waghorn 15, Garner 10, McGoldrick and Selina on 8. Top assists, Waghorn in double figures. Only player in the division, double figures for both. And outstripping Mr. Maddison of Norwich City for combined goals and assists now.
Yeah, I suppose, he hasn't scored for, 3 or 4 games.
Knudsen, 7 assists, Ward 5. Top minutes, Bart, Knudsen, Waghorn, Chambers, Spence. James Dackey's been brilliant all season. He's got his last bets with us next week. He's going out with a bang here. He had Ipswich to win at 3-1 as well. So decent price on that one. He went big on this treble as well. Preston to win at Sheffield United.
Hello.
Rangers to beat Birmingham.
Hello.
Oh, but yeah, Brentford to beat Barnsley. That unlucky. But the Nasdaq well up from that 3-1 win. So we don't know what we're going to do with the money yet, but we are in profit and we are prepared to give it to a good Ipswich Town related cause. We'll have a figure. I'd love to do something where we buy you, if you buy a ticket, we'll buy your kid a ticket. So
that's a great idea.
Your kid. So if we can scheme that somehow, we'll put that money into that.
Like that.
We saw him yesterday, Dave. He was as cantankerous and wonderful as ever. The renegade stat man. He's a
tried to lock him in the car. Yeah, brilliant.
He was
looking. We had a great day
yesterday.
Had really good fun yesterday. It was great stuff.
Statman says, what a fantastic away win against Reading, and it was also great to meet so many fans. Now, does he mean Ipswich fans or Renegade Statman fans?
I'm sure he means Ipswich fans.
A big easy to all those I shook hands with and shared our hopes for the future. Most of us at the Madstad never saw that result coming at half-time, or in fact, on the 60-minute mark, but the game ended with joyous away scenes at the end. On the way back from the game, Ben, you texted me asking, Stat, have we ever lost 4-0 one week and
Can't
won
wait
4-0
for
the
this.
next week? The stat of the week had arisen, so basically facilitated. Yesterday was the first occurrence of a back-to-back 4-0 loss win,
Must have been. Yeah.
or in fact 4-0 win-loss, the other way round. In Ipswich Town's history, the stat machine did pick up the last time we lost 3-0 and won 3-0. February 2012, Paul Jewell's team actually recorded a 3-0 win at home to Cardiff, immediately followed by a 3-0 defeat away at Brighton, immediately followed by a 3-0 win at home to Bristol City. So crazy times indeed under #JewelOut. Another milestone that deserves a mention is that Town also recorded their 1,000th, Dave, 1,000th clean sheet yesterday. Our previous manager would be all over that, wouldn't he? Peace out and see you next Sunday. And I don't know if he wants us to reveal this, but Statman did text our group today telling us that he'd made a significant financial purchase.
He did
today. Yeah. We will say no more. It's not a new car. He had a new car recently, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah. Dave, have you got two little ducks for me?
Oh, I've got two little ducks for you, my friend.
So, shall I do the rules first?
You do the rules because I've forgotten them.
So, Dave's going to give me a game from Ipswich Town's history. He'd do well to remember that the game I gave him last week was only 4 months old.
This is slightly older.
Slightly older.
Hey, like it.
And I have to try and name as many of the 22 starting players as possible. If I name a player who didn't start, I'm out. That is my goose. Unless I play my golden goose, in which case I get a gimme, or the player I name is a huge substitute, but that does not count towards my score. What I'll do today, Dave, I'll keep a note of how many I've got, but remember, you gave me too many points for the Charlton game. I think you counted used substitutes. And we go a bit easy. If I say a Charlton player from 1998 is Keith Brown and not Keith Jones, that's...
I think we know you mean. All right, Ben. I'm sorry, we're going back more than 4 months. We're actually going back 21 years.
21 years, 1997.
You were at this game because you told me. The 10th of May, 1997.
Sheffield United.
Playoff semi-final, first leg at Bramall Lane.
Oh my God!
Sheffield United 1, Ipswich Town 1.
I am not going to get any more than 8 on this one, am I?
I think you might. I think you might. I think you might.
Okay.
You were there, weren't you? You've told me. Yeah, I'm sure you were there, weren't you?
No, I was at the home game, not the away game.
Hang on, I'll just swap one player over. I can do that actually.
No. All
right, go on then. If you want. No, it won't make any difference. I think there was one player. I think it was one player on the opposition different. Because I looked. I thought you were at this game. Go on.
I'm going to use the home game as a reference point then.
Right.
Mick Stockwell.
Yeah, I'll tell you yes today.
And he wasn't a used sub because he scored, didn't he?
No, he scored.
Don Hutchison.
Do you know, I'd have forgotten about him. Yeah, good shout.
Steve Sedgley.
Yeah. It's been very deliberate. Deliberating. Tense.
Richard Wright.
Correct. What are you going to say then? Correct.
Oh my God. 4. If I get more than 8, I'm happy with that.
Go on, yeah.
Jan Arger Fjørtoft.
He was a unit, wasn't he?
He's a fucking arsehole, is what he was. Did he score in that game?
He did.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Stocky equalised, went round a keeper. Slide rule pass from George Williams.
Okay, George Williams. You imbecile.
You'd have got that.
Oh, no, No, I wouldn't. I'm terrible.
Cool.
I know that Nicholas Goodmanson scored in the second leg.
Yeah.
I know that Tony Vaughan made a big mistake in the second leg.
Oof.
Let's say Tony Vaughan.
Yeah.
7.
Yeah. I'm not counting George Williams. Yes,
I'm having that one. Andy Walker scored the Sheffield United goal, didn't he? I don't know. Peter Cachuro scored the other Sheffield United goal in the home leg. Peter Cachuro.
Yeah.
8. Right, I'm happy with that now.
Yeah. Oh, you got more. You got more in you. You got more in you, I'm sure.
Jason Cundy.
Nah, he didn't play.
Oh,
boo. Hey, we said 8. You said 8.
8
No, I think
exactly.
this was a difficult one.
Can I give you some other names then?
Yeah,
that
go,
I think
go.
would have been around. Scowcroft.
Yeah.
Matthew.
No. Yeah, nice. Yeah, no, he didn't. He wasn't. No. Well, he was around. He didn't play.
Who would have been in midfield? Ullenbeek.
Yeah.
Oh God, Tarico, idiot.
Yeah.
So Vaughan and Sedgley were the centre backs then, were they? Who was the other centre midfielder, Dave?
Kieran Dyer.
Oh my God. Just the best Ipswich player for a long time.
Yeah, he was. Do you know what? I cannot always remember some other mental block with Kieran Dyer and Geraint Williams. I always seem to think as soon as Geraint Williams stopped playing, Kieran Dyer started, but they did overlap, obviously.
Wow. Okay, run me through the.
So it's Richard Wright, Mick Stockwell, Micho Tarico, Sedge, Chris Swales.
Started.
The one you're missing, clearly, Neil Gregory, who's in for Matthew, I guess.
Okay. Scored a hat-trick against Sheffield United a couple of months before, didn't he?
Was he out for ages? Did he not dislocate his shoulder bad?
He did, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, some stinkers in the Sheffield United
I know
team.
why you said that now. That's funny. Carry on. Say no more.
There's some stinkers in that. Alan Kelly.
Oh, I should have got that. Actually,
someone Kelly in goal.
Yeah, Alan Kelly.
Ward, right back.
No, I wouldn't have got
Nielsen.
that. That's Alan Nielsen.
Yeah, Carl Tyler, I think.
Oh, player.
Dean Holdsworth?
David Holdsworth.
David, sorry, calls. David White or White?
Would that be David White, who played for Man City?
It's White. I don't know, mate.
Do you know when Ferguson took Cantona, it was they wanted David White earlier in the...
David White had pace to burn. Kelly Ward, Nielsen, Hutchison, Tyler Holdsworth, White, Henry, Fjordsyth, Cachuro, and the other left winger, I think. Did he not go on to boxing? Dane Whitehouse.
No, you're thinking of Curtis Woodhouse.
Curtis Woodhouse, yeah, spot. You're right. Subs, used sub was Taylor and Craig Short. I guess that would be, yeah.
Yeah. Gareth Taylor scored the next season at Portman Road. They actually re-signed Brian Dean as well. He was a very good player, wasn't he?
And our used sub was you mentioned him, Nicholas Goodmanson.
Well, I'm quite happy with 8, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a bit of a tricky one, that. But I thought, yeah, good. With the playoffs coming up, I thought it was quite apt, that one.
I want 22 out of you next week, Dave. I'm going to give you a softball.
Yep, I know what one you're going to give me and all, hopefully.
Well, it's going to be May the 6th, so yeah, you can go figure. Do your research.
Can I do it now?
No. Okay. Dave, one more game left. So Middlesbrough, not Middlesbrough, Middlesbrough. Check the spelling. Middlesbrough at home. Do we think they're gonna rest some people? Pulis says he's not bothered who they play in the playoffs. The way you look quickly, Dave. The way you look at those playoffs, it's only if Derby get in, there's only one football team, isn't there? There's only Fulham that are gonna pass it about. The rest of them are going to be very pragmatic, stiff. Rowett, Bruce, and Pulis.
I don't know. I take what he said, but I think people, player like a Sombalonga, who has got a history of injuries, you'd think maybe, like I said, they wouldn't want to. I can see him starting bench next week. Looking at a good side. I mean, look, I tell you what, these
Gibson.
Are a side that could do it. You know, Randolph shot, and Ayala, Gibson, Friend, Howson, Friend, Bezic, Clayton, Traore, Sombalonga down in a lot of experience there. People like Ledbetter was on the bench yesterday. Do you know what? You look at that side and you think and likes of Bamford, I think, was on the bench as well yesterday. You look at that side, and there's an experienced side going
Yeah, mate,
into
you
the
line that
playoffs.
up against Villa, and they're
Well,
beaten for experience, aren't they?
yeah, and that's an experienced team there. Yeah, they you know,
Dave, Fulham are going to bloody lose, aren't they? Fulham are
Borough,
going to lose in the playoffs, aren't they?
looking at that Borough side, they could be. I know they're not dark horse because there's only 4 teams in the playoff, but maybe would you say? I guess it's going to be the 6th place side that perhaps obviously would be the least fancy, but sort of Borough have sort of come up on the rails slightly this season, haven't they?
Well, I would
Did
say
you go to the Borough game? They
I didn't.
outplayed us, didn't? Oh, you
No,
didn't.
I didn't go. I didn't
What
go.
you
What
missed?
what I would say is that Derby are far and away the worst team out of those
Okay.
4.
Yeah.
And we were saying this at lunch yesterday. It's all about the manager when you get to the playoffs, isn't it? And
Useless.
what you would say is Jokanovic, and we saw this with Burley. You know exactly what he's going to do. He's quite easy to actually prepare for, isn't he? Whereas Pulis or Bruce, you wouldn't be surprised if they go 3 at the back, or you don't know who the hell they're going to play. Jokanovic, I can tell you exactly if Fulham get in the playoffs. I'll tell you exactly what system they play and who will play as well. And all of those managers will be able to do that. And you can see Pulis particularly, although they're not likely to meet until the final, stopping Jokanovic, can't you?
I think you're right. No, and certainly look at the players. I mean, there's players there. They've all Gibson, Ayala. I'm sure they all played in the Premier. Of course, they played in the Premier League, but they got relegated. A lot of experience there. Clayton, Downing, bloody hell.
Are they going to beat us anyway? Or are they going to be too worried about the playoffs?
I can see. I'm feeling a draw next week. I'm feeling a draw, a defeat for Norwich, and the real big East Anglian Cup will be won by dual celebrations next week. We'll get the point. Norwich will lose, so we'll celebrate that, and also a good celebration for the 40th anniversary of the cup final win.
Are
Fantastic.
we going to see any farewells next week? I'm thinking Sears. I'm thinking Bialkowski. I'm thinking, might we see David McGoldrick, even if he's not playing at the stadium?
I don't know, mate. I don't know. I think maybe you can tell a lot. I think you can tell a lot. I mean, I think going back, there was a game just before the transfer window back in January, and I think I said on the pod, and I looked at Bart quite closely towards the end of that game, and he thought, yeah, mate, he just looks, his body language looks as if, sounds odd, but he might well be leaving. So I think maybe you can tell a lot from maybe at the end next week. I don't know. I can't see people looking at the potential strength in depth we've got in midfield. I would say, and I'm not saying I hope this at all, because I think when he's come in, and I think he surprised you in a couple of recent games. I think Luke Hyams played his last game for us. I think.
What level do you think he'll end up playing at?
Oh, you can see him going up the
Championship?
You can see him. Don't know. You could see him going up the A12. Up to Colchester or something like that. I mean, I know it's an obvious one, but I think he had a fairly reasonable loan spell at Rotherham. Yep. Last season or season before?
2 seasons back, yeah.
2 seasons back.
That was Championship as well.
Yeah, no, yeah. In the right, let's face it, in the right side, in a functioning side with the right players around him, he was quite important. Don't forget that 14-15 side we had until him. Okay, McGoldrick pretty much got injured at the same time, but he was a hell of a miss that season because he was playing in a system, with people like Bishop and more flamboyant players, and McGoldrick, more flamboyant players around him and Skews. He was quite an important part of that side. He really was, and we certainly missed him. But look, I think he's been really unlucky with injuries, hasn't he? I would say him for one. And I think you'd agree, I'd be surprised if he got another contract. McGoldrick, we all love it. I love him, that, but from what we understand, one of the highest earners there. You just can't rely on him staying fit, Ben. I fully expect he's played his last game. So certainly those two. But, well, you'd really hope not. God, you'd hope not. But look, if it is, you can't knock him for... If he gets a move to the Premier, can you knock that? You can't.
Take the money, but he deserves
Take the money.
It,
He's 30, 31. What is he, 31? Mate, he fully deserves it. He doesn't owe us anything.
Yeah.
I think... Now it's gone, and the whole grey, oppressive mist has lifted.
Don't talk to me about tactics.
Sorry?
Don't talk to me about tactics.
It's just nice again, isn't it? We felt the feeling in the fan zone before the Villa game. It'll be lovely next week. Hopefully the sun will be out, be a bit warmer. I'll have some hot water and some heat.
We're not going to see Wolfenden next week, are we?
No, I wouldn't have thought so. No. I mean, I think he only played. He was only called back. I didn't realise because obviously Chris Smith was called back the week before from Chelmsford, and he pulled up with a slight knock or illness or something. That's why Wolfenden was called back.
Interesting. Anyway, Dave, we are 1 hour and 23 minutes into this podcast. We thank you as all. We'll do our proper thank yous next week, but amazing number of downloads this year, Dave. You know, you're on telly this week. I've been on Channel 5.
Well, you have been putting yourself about.
Irish radio.
You have been promoting it a lot, haven't you?
YouTube videos. It's been a great year for the podcast, and we must say, Dave, Mr. Mikey Penty Smith.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
On the preview podcast, younger, more handsome model of Ben and Dave, but did really well, didn't he? Yeah.
Youth.
We're bringing through the youth, so please do tweet Mikey and congratulate him on his first podcast.
Yeah, he did well.
We're trying to sort him out with one of these gimmicks
that
Dave and I are wearing, but you'll see him again, and please give him a tweet. Hopefully he'll become a member of the team, as well as Statman, obviously, and Richard on the
Ipswich
on the video side.
Are any of those guys coming? Do you know, is Rich and that coming for the last game next week, or don't you know? Any of those guys coming?
I'm sure they will respond.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you everybody for listening. Dave, say something to do the sign off.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. We will. Well, Stat and me recording some more shows for the History Pod on Wednesday, including some. Well, you know what time of year is coming up. Some
games,
right biggies. So
looking forward to that.
Yeah, looking forward to that. And what we must say, just quickly, give a big shout out to Ian, who's our producer on Wednesday for the History
operated
Show.
On tomorrow.
Who's having his ACL operated on tomorrow, but hopes to be fit and well to produce the podcast on Wednesday. I'm sorry, on Thursday we're doing it. On Thursday we're recording on Thursday.
So if you ever see a footballer go down and you slow clap them or you boo them or you shout get up and you find they've done their ACL, if you've seen our mate Ian, that looks bloody painful, I tell you.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. Well. So no, I hope it goes well tomorrow, Ian. I'm sure it will be. He'll be hopping around that studio on Thursday.
Over and out, Dave. See you next week.
Take care. Bye.